Hey, what's going on, fight fans? Hey, this is Coach D, the Wild Man, coming at you again with another episode of Coach D Media. Now, you know I do a Coach D Media. I talk about all things combat sports related, from the highs to the lows. All right, let's go ahead and get back into it. Well, I was going to talk about Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez fight that happened on Netflix. I'm still going to, but apparently we have to clean up some stuff first, right? How about Errol Hawani asked Terence Crawford, shouldn't he fight Ilia Topuria? And Terence Crawford says, ain't no way. And Errol Hawani said, well, look what Conor McGregor did. And of course, Terence Crawford had to give Errol Hawani the business. So let's go ahead and hear what Terence had to say.
Obviously, we're paying close attention to you and Ilia Topuria, the back and forth, the tweets, and then you walk out to the song that he usually walks out to. You were asked about it. He then responded yesterday via Twitter to you walking out to the song that he usually walks out to. And I know that you were asked about this, but this was his response. First, he calls me drunk. Then he walks out to my song. Crawford, whenever you want, I'll teach you how to dance the mariachi in the ring, and Canelo, I'll save you a round after him. Honestly, you walking out to his song, did you not know that was the song he always walks out to?
To be honest, I never even seen this dude fight. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm not worried about that guy at all. It's crazy how things work. I didn't even know who he was. When he seen me at the UFC, he came up and shook my hand saying, "What's up?" to me. I didn't even know who he was, But then I see him online talking about he had knocked me out in the first round and this and that and this. Well, if you want to fight me, you had the opportunity to tell me, like, hey, man, I want to fight you. What's up? Like, that's fake. If I don't like somebody, if I want to fight them for whatever reason, I would have been like, hey, what's up, man? What you think about me and you fighting? I'm not going to go hide behind, the keyboard and things like that, and then be like, oh, I knocked this dude out, this and that and this. I think that's fake.
Do you think he actually wants to fight you, or do you think, as the kids would say, he's just trying to clout chase?
I definitely think he's trying to clout chase. I think he'll definitely get in the ring with me for the right check. That's what we all do it for. But at the same time, I think, he's I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't know what he thinking this way. I will. Ain't even nothing to talk about.
Do you, now that this has become a thing and you see the interest, do you have interest in fighting him?
For what? What?
Money.
Listen, what money would I get out of fighting him? Tell me how much I'm gonna get out of fighting him.
Well, I know Floyd made a lot, obviously, to fight Conor.
He's not nowhere near on the level of Conor McGregor. Let's be real. Stop it. Don't ever compare him to Conor. Conor was here. He's here.
Crazy, right? How do we get to the point to where now every MMA fighter who thinks they're worth their salt now wants to box a boxer, right? I get Conor McGregor and freaking Floyd Mayweather. I get that fight, right? Two loud, obnoxious guys that know how to sell themselves and know how to promote a fight. Those two were the right fight to make, right? They sold it extremely well. With all the craziness that goes along with it, everybody made money, right? Or so everybody's saying they made money, right? But like I said, that's not for everybody. In a matter of days, after Terence Crawford put on a clinic against Canelo Alvarez, right? Errol Hawani tried to dismiss everything that he'd done. It was supposed to be about Terence Crawford, period, in boxing. When it came to Terence's time, you didn't have to add nobody in there other than boxing and who he wants to fight next as a boxer. You didn't have to add MMA in there at all. But simply because Terence Crawford came out to the same music that Ilia Topuria came out with, people made that into a story. Like Terence was actually giving freaking Il Topuria some thought about the music. Really? Is that where we at right now? Is that what you consider a story? Right? Then Terence cleaned it up even more. He says, I saw Il Topuria. We were face to face, right? If he said he wanted to fight me, he could have said it to my face and let me know that that's what he wanted to do. Then we could have took it from there. He was all smiles and friendship when we were face to face. Then he gets back on social media and says he can knock me out and beat me up or whatever, right? Bottom line is we over here social media hyping instead of really hyping a fight. When the two fighters get together and agree to make a fight happen, all we doing is running around stories, and you don't have to. But don't steal a man's thunder and try to give it to somebody else. That's what you don't do. That's the crap I don't like, right? Terence did the unthinkable. Everybody's saying Terence did a great thing. How come you can't let him have it? And normally I'm an Ariel Helwani fan, right? I'm usually singing his praises, especially when everybody was beating him up, Dana White primarily, but he was getting the business, getting fired, all that kind of good stuff from ESPN. Then you had I forgot the other guy, dude, who was on him. You know what I'm saying? And he had all these social media wars, which were good, by the way. I ain't gonna lie, some of them were daggone good. So Ariel Helwani can hold his own. I'm not saying he can't, right? But in this moment, he fumbled the ball. Right? When you had a fighter who did great things, you give him that time. You give him that space to do this. You had to throw crap else. You could have hyped up every other stuff, but bringing an MMA fight that nobody cares about. Nobody cares about if Ariel Topuria fights Terence Crawford. Not when Terence Crawford is on this road right now, right? They're gonna switch gears and follow Ilia Topuria, and you expect to make Conor McGregor money. Even Terence Crawford said how much he gonna make. How much would he make off fighting Ilia Topuria? And Ariel Helwani couldn't really come up with no real number because there ain't no real number. Not at this level. Ilia Topuria is not as big as Conor McGregor, especially here in the States. So when you say that nonsense, it disregards everything that Terence Crawford did, right? And try to take some of that thunder and add it to Ilia Topuria. That's the shit we ain't gonna do, right? Especially I could see down the line if a whole bunch of more tweets were coming in, but the fight just happened with Canelo. Just happened. If it's the best you got, that's the bullshit that I don't like, right? On top of that, right, we're already catching all this craziness with Dana White and Zuffa boxing. Is it going to be good for the sport of boxing if they get rid of the Ali Act and try to turn boxing into the UFC style of contract and all that kind of good stuff where fighters can't get, what they would get if they were still boxing? The Ali Act goes away. They're not going to get the money they've been making because you can't manage and you can't promote when it comes to boxing. You can't do both. If you manage a fighter, you can't promote a fight that the boxer is on. That's where it's at with the Ali Act, so you can't double dip, basically, right? In the UFC, you can double dip. You can have a fighter under contract and promote him at the same time, right? Because there was no rules in the beginning for MMA and the UFC. Pretty much the UFC created all the rules they have. That's why they're a monopoly. That's why they're hard to beat, because they created everything, right? All they had to do was tweak the rules, but pretty much they were running the show from day one. Once they started getting these media deals in, they were good to go. They had to worry about crap. Now with TKO, at the helm, they're a powerhouse. TKO is a hungry freaking beast. They want to gobble up everything when it comes to combat sports, from pro wrestling on, MMA, 91 all. They want everything. They some greedy mother effers. And the bad part about it is that as long as they're doing it in America, everybody's greedy. Everybody has a price. That's why the Ali Act is even in jeopardy, is because somebody has a price, right? If you got Dana White and who he's partnered with, which you know who, right, and TKO, they are forced. They go, we got the money and the pool to get what we want done. And it looks like it just may happen, right? When you can grease the right palms and pull the right levers and get the right leverage, basically you can't be stopped. We going back to the mafia days. Tell me I'm lying. Where a group of people is running the show. Do what we tell you to do, or else is coming. Is coming. The right partnerships are being made. Now Saudi money on board. Now that's going to be tricky because Saudi got Saudi got mad money, right? If they rocking with you, you gonna get paid, but they got enough money to cut your lights off. I don't know. I don't know if TKO and Dana White can really f with the Saudis. I don't think you can. I think the best they could do is shake hands and make it mutual beneficial because TKO don't got Saudi money. They just don't. Saudi can cut the state off, mess around. You know what I'm saying? So, but we gonna see. But right now, it's getting crappy, man. Ain't nothing sacred in sports no more. Nothing. I mean, right now that's just combat sports, boxing, MMA. Right now, wrestling, all other. BJJ ain't safe no more, right? BJJ ain't safe. Boxing ain't safe. MMA ain't safe. You know what I'm saying? Dana White, I guess, don't want wrestling, but if he wants that may not be safe. It's getting crazy in these streets. So I don't know, man. I really don't know. But Ariel Helwani did, man, that BS he be on, man. Right? He blew that one. He effing blew that one. So I don't know if he'll get Terence on there again. We'll see. Because, hey, that was the wrong question to ask. It had no bearing. You acting like Terence is highly talking about MMA. He's not. Just because he wrestled, got a good background, he may be efficient in a lot of disciplines. That don't mean he wants to go to MMA. I mean, if his career is over in a super fight, even Terence said, if the money right, I'll do it. But the money ain't gonna be right. Right? So yeah, money talks, but that don't mean he gives a shit about Ilia Topuria and his song that he was rocking to. Who gives a F? But anyway, I guess it's a good conversation. I don't think Ariel Helwani needed to say that crap, but he did, right? Other people are talking about it too, which is me included, but I'm covering all everything else. Yeah, it's getting foolish out here in these streets. So we see how it goes. All right, that's all I got. This is Coach D doing what I'm doing, calling it like I see it, talking my share of shit. To hear from me again, peace out.